research.
Where'd that go down?
In New Jersey.
Lakehurst.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
This is having to do with SuperMicro.
Okay, so...
And as you might expect, given I've just been handed it, it's very small type. I haven't had an opportunity to review it, neither have you, Jim.
SuperMicro.
But we mention it because this is a firm that our viewers may know is usually associated with shorting a stock, putting out significant research on said equity, and it has an impact. Take a look. Down 7+%.
Now, on the last quarter,
to be fair,
like
SuperMicro has not had an opportunity to respond to this.
No, and it's fair that Charles Liang, who's come on Mad Money several times, have a chance because, by the way, SuperMicro is a company that works very closely with NVIDIA.
Right.
And they are not partners like people think. They are HPE, Dell, which reports this week, SuperMicro. They're all kind of in this, we're helpers, if you want NVIDIA. Because remember, you can't just order NVIDIA. You don't call 1-800-NVIDIA. Unlike, say, Charles River Labs, you can dial 1-800-LabRat.
Hindenburg says they've conducted a 3-month investigation, including interviews with former senior employees, industry experts, litigation records they've reviewed, international corporate and customs records, and they claim to have found glaring accounting red flags, evidence of undisclosed related party transactions, sanctions, and export control failures, and customer issues. Again,
suboptimal.
We do not have in any way a response, but that is why you're seeing the stock
we want to
down.
get response, but we also know,
and they go on, and then it goes
I
on
always
from
ask,
there.
do you have enough cash? Do you have enough cash? Because they've been doing these equity offerings, and their growth is so great that they've had to do equity offerings.
I just wonder at what point companies like this, like what value add are they ultimately when demand slows and the hyperscalers who already do make their own equipment that incorporates NVIDIA's chips, do they really need SuperMicro over the long term?
I have a tremendous admiration for Michael Dell. Okay.
Yes.
But Dell's stock went up to 170 with the belief that there's unlimited demand. And then when we heard that Blackwell, which is their current iteration, may not ship in time.
That's NVIDIA's,
in
right?
volume. That's look where Dell went to. So there's your example of what happens if demand slows, David. That's what it looks like. That's what you should be prepped for. HPE, same deal. And now, obviously, SuperMicro. Now, SuperMicro is it's somewhat impenetrable.
It's not as straightforward as you think in terms of, we always talk about the chips, and Amazon's buying the chips, and Meta's buying NVIDIA chips, and Microsoft, and then Dell and HP. But if they're putting the servers together, but it's sort of a more mixed picture in terms of some of the hyperscalers put them together themselves. Right. They have these companies that do it for them. Then they also buy stuff from Dell and HP. Right. Then they also use SuperMicro.
But the big guys know how to handle
it.
The big guys know how to handle it. And one of the reasons why I'm upset that people think that it's all smoke and mirrors is that if you look at Meta and what Meta's done with Meta AI,
I know.
Holy cow. Although if you Google Zepbound on Meta AI, it doesn't have the latest information. That's important. If you go to ChatGPT, this is a good example. I like to go to all of them. ChatGPT has what's the normal dose of tirzepatide, and if you go to Meta says, look, we don't really know. I mean, well, it's good that they admit that he admits it, or she admits it, or whoever admits it.
What's the point you're making here?
The point is that that Zuckerberg, who apparently is claiming, doesn't want to be pressured on something there's pressure on, but his is still behind. Unless you're doing
his AI is still behind.
Yeah, Meta AI is really good for social, media, what's Kelsey's contract like. I mean, and it's not up to date as much as ChatGPT. But David, I find it mellifluous when it's got the right information.
That's such a good word.
And it has a little bit of sense of humor. It has a twinkle.
We continue to see sort of this movement again. We mentioned tech, big tech being down. The banks once again are benefiting.
Oh,
there was an interesting herd on the street today, Jim.